So I do a question and response night on a Facebook group called Yahweh Cafe. And I get asked every so often of when I'm starting to read the Bible, what order should I read it in? And I think this is actually a very good question. The Bible is a daunting book when you look at it as a whole. But what I do is I recommend certain books you read, like starting in the Gospel of John, then read Acts, and then I say you skip right to James and 1 John, and then you go back into some of the Genesis and Exodus and Joshua and Judges, and you kind of build on from there. Well, I got the question today, why James? Why skip all of Paul? And Paul has this idea of justification by faith, which is good. We learn, we understand, we get that, and we need it. We'll get back to that. But I go to James because it's the practical application of our faith. You see, James has this idea of faith without works is dead. That Christianity requires us to do something. And this is where this grace and this justification by grace, that we are justified just by becoming a Christian, starts to fall a little bit, because we actually have some sort of commitment of what we have to do. The Bible will talk about the widow, the homeless, the poor. In our day, we could talk about it in the hurting, the broken, the single parent, the child whose parents don't pay attention to him. There's a lot of ways that we can look at this, and we are required to make the world a better place. Let's look at it as a metaphor of a train, right? You get your train ticket and you sit on the train, and the train is going into the promised land or the afterlife or heaven. And you could sit on that train all you want. Did you really just buy a ticket so that after you die, you will be in a better place? No. If you board this train that we call Christianity, you're required to do something about it. And that's what James talks about. That's why I so recommend everyone study the book of James. Because it is not just about grace. Although grace is a wonderful thing. Your ticket on is just that. It's just a starting point. There is so much more. If we think of it in the train metaphor, there is so many more stops that you have to get off and do something with, because your life is now not your own. Christianity, this thing that we call Christianity, this following the King of Kings, is not about your safety and your place in heaven. It is about making this world a better place. I love this idea that you can't just board the train and ride it forever. That you have to get off and make stops and make the world a better place. That is what you're called to do. That is what they were called to do back in the Hebrew scriptures. If you look at the whole point of the Bible itself and of God's plan of redemption, it boils down to Abraham. I will bless you, Abraham, to be a blessing to other nations. His blessing required him to go out and bless other people. And that's what the whole Bible is about. That is the whole plan of salvation. It is not about your salvation. It is about your salvation and then you becoming the linchpin for other people's salvation and goodness. Salvation is like buying the ticket to get on the train. When you ask Jesus to come into your heart, when you become a Christian, it's like getting that ticket to get on the train. But there is more to it than that. You have to go through and make this world a better place. You have to stop at the stops and get off and see the needs and the hurts that are there. That is what we're doing. That doesn't just mean in your church, but that means at work, wherever you go, that homeless person that you see. Find opportunities to serve, because faith without works is dead, as James will say. And I challenge you, study the book of James. So don't just buy the ticket for the train. get off at the stops and make this world a better place.